So the next job, because I have to leave these, I'll have to tighten these up when it's on the ground so they're both parallel. I'll have to look for some lock nuts on the end of that swivel arm, I think, or get one drilled. So the next job is to install the springs, and it suggests putting a little bit of grease either end. I imagine that's to stop it squeaking. So I'll put a little bit of grease there. On the other end, well, I'm not hopeful while I'm fitting the stub axles that these won't actually fall out, but I'll do what the workshop manual suggests and fit them in. So that top one goes around that spigot at the top, and then I'm going to rest the lower one in that wish pan temporarily, and then the next job is to start doing the lower trunnion. So these are the original stub axles I had. The garage has checked them, put new grease nipples on them, sort of past them to go forward. But I have become a bit obsessed with these things. The more you read about these stub axles and trunnions, and the more complicated they seem to be. But I think these are very different from the actual MGA ones. I'm not sure if these aren't even B ones, but if they're wound down, this link has no way of swivelling, so you have to undo it a turn. That face is on the inside as opposed to where the wheels go. This is the same, so it has enough room to swing with the steering, so it can only really go there. And I imagine the more you unturn this, the less compression you have on your spring, so I suppose this stiffens up the suspension. I've got the bushes, again they say in the original stub axles to remove these when you're winding the links down, but I don't have any interruption with mine. I've left the grease on them, so I will put them back. Well, there's the grease. According to the guru, you really don't want them seizing, so I'll leave the grease in there. There's the one for the lower trunnion. So I'll just pop that in there. I thought as well, although a lot of these parts look like they're alright, I would replace obviously the rusty components. That has got a lock nut on the end, interestingly, so maybe I am just replacing like for like on some of these parts. But I've bought myself some new nuts and bolts, and I'll put that bottom trunnion between the lever arms. So that lower trunnion is wound in, so I need to rotate it so that bit faces the same way as where the wheel goes there. So again, it's got enough movement for the steering. And then looking at the one I kept, I've got new bolt, a bit of grease on that, and then I've got new dust covers washers, these beveled washers. So I think we have, looking at my videos that I made, we have a washer on the inside, then we have a beveled washer, but that faces the trunnion that way, and then we have a dust cover that must go in like that. That's how that goes. So that's the same as the one I took off, except, oh yeah, there is a washer in there. Yeah, there's a washer in there, so there's the washer, and that sits here. Doesn't really want to go on at all. Right, I'll just fiddle that on. And then on the other side, exactly the same. That faces outside, that faces inside. Washer on the inside, perhaps I should have put that in first. Washer. That goes in the rubber seal. And that goes over that side. Again, I'll just wiggle that one on like that. And then hopefully that goes in there. We have the bolt. Really doesn't want to go through there at all. Let's have a look at that. I think it's just where this bolt is hitting a little bit of the powder coating. So I'll just give that a little bit of a file down. Right, so that's still facing out. Oh, look at that, much better. Great, good. So that's all in there. No hammers used, and all the new bits look like they are fine. It also looks like I can get away with one of these deeper slotted castellated nuts this end as well. There's lots of grease on there, so I'll just keep the grease on there rather than my anti-seize. I don't know. Let's just see if that goes up. Good. Right, so now I have to get a jack underneath the pan and start to lift it up to get the bolt into the upper part. Again, I might wait for that. Or was that about to fall out? I thought it might. Right, do the other side first. So there's the same thing done on the other side. Seals, washers, nut, bolt, all loosely fitted around that lower stub axle. Also been up to the garage and given that old crunchy shock absorber, and they've given me a nice reconditioned one, so no crunchy noises there now. So that was a sensible thing to fix at the same time. Right, so now it's a question of getting the jack underneath the spring pans and applying a bit of leverage, and as the spring squashes we can think about getting the bolts through the upper trunnion into the shock absorber.